Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel A in Economist. So in the previous few videos we have introduced the topic statistics to you. We have also learned about what is data, what are the types of data, and we have also understood what are the methods of collecting those data, right? Now once we have data with us, the next question that comes to our mind is how to present that data in a meaningful way, right? How to present that data in a meaningful way so that we can derive some insights from that. That is what we are going to do today. We are particularly going to discuss three different ways in which statisticians present the data, right? Three different ways in which we can present the data. The first method would be the textual presentation, where you write paragraphs to present the data. Then you have something called the tabular presentation, where you use different tables to present your data. And the third method would be diagrammatic presentation, where you draw different diagrams to derive meaningful insights from that, right? In this video we will be discussing about the textual presentation and the tabular presentation, and I'll handle this diagrammatic presentation in the next video. So let's start with this. First method will be the textual presentation. What is this method? This method uses paragraphs or text to present the data. To show you, I have given two examples here. Let us see the first example. It says, in a strike call given by trade unions or shoemaking industry in the city of Delhi, 50% of the workers reported for the duty, and only 2 out of 20 industries in the city were totally closed. So here you can identify the numeric data that is presented inside the text. You are not writing anything in a table or in a diagram or something. You are just presenting your thoughts and your data in the form of a paragraph or a text. So this is what is called as the textual presentation, where you give the text where you give the data within the text itself, right? And there is no hard and fast rule for this method, but the clarity and the logical sequence has to be maintained. It's not that you are writing haphazardly something and no one is able to understand anything, right? This cannot be the case. You have to write everything logically and with utmost clarity so that it becomes comprehensible to everyone. And this sort of method is often employed in the official reports. If you find out government reports, you will see that data is often presented in this textual format in the form of a paragraph. Let's see another example. Surveys conducted by a non-government organization reveal that in the state of Punjab, area under pulses has tended to shrink by 40%, while the area under rice and wheat has tended to expand by 20% between the years this to this, right? 1991 to 2001. So you are presenting the data in a logical fashion. Also, you are giving the yearly data and you are also giving percentage data, right? So data is presented in a logical fashion, in a clear manner, and this is what is the textual presentation of data, right? Now, what could be the pros and cons of this method? The pros would be the writer could divert attention of the reader to certain points which he considers to be of special importance. Suppose here you make these data points bold. Suppose 50% is made bold or 20 industries is made bold. So people often tend to look at the bold lines, right? Bold figures and bold paragraphs, right? So the writer has the freedom to divert the attention of the reader to certain points which he considers to be of special importance. So this is one of the pros of this method. So you are letting the reader know only those things which you want them to know, right? So this is the freedom that the writer enjoys here. And the second point would be this mode of presentation can appeal people only with a literary bent of mind. So for understanding these paragraphs, you must know certain English, you must have a certain level of education. Otherwise, you can't comprehend the meaning of this presentation, right? So you should have literary bent of mind, or you should have a minimal education level to understand them, and you should have a habit of reading to comprehend anything out of this. These are the pros of this method. Let's look at the cons. It is a time consuming method. The entire text has to be read before comprehending the meaning. So you cannot only see the numerical values and comprehend something out of that. So you have to read the entire text in order to get the context first, and then you can comprehend the meaning of these numerical values, in what context they are being used, right? So it is a time consuming method because you have to read out the entire text before comprehending the meaning of it. The second point is can't present large masses of data. You could only represent smaller text. Otherwise, the attention span of people are getting lesser and lesser every day. So no one will read your text. So you have to present this in a very small and concise manner. Large masses of data cannot be presented in this format. It is not useful in that way. Third point would be, in most cases, it is monotonous and boring. So people don't, people usually want to represent text visually because that are more appealing to the audience. And this method of writing text, paragraphs and text, is very boring and monotonous to some people. So it does not readily provide data for statistical analysis. Suppose you are giving this paragraph. So in this fashion, it is very time consuming for you to find out the meaning of individual data and then present it, use it to analyze them statistically. So it does not readily provide data for statistical analysis. You have to make more appealing presentation so that they can be used for statistical analysis. So these are certain cons of this method. And the second method would be the tabular presentation. It is simply putting the data in a table. But for a table, you need to have certain components in a table. Tabular presentation is the systematic presentation of data in rows and columns. Now let us see what could be components in an ideal table. The first and the foremost component would be the table number. Every table should have a identifying number. So suppose this table has the number 001. So this is the identification number of this table, right? It is the identification number of this table, or this number can also be used for referencing. This number can also be used for referencing. Why this is so? Because this number is unique for this particular table. So if you want to use this table, suppose here in this paragraph, so you don't have to paste this table everywhere you want to mention about something in this table. So you just have to write that from the table 001. So if you put the table number here, it will represent that table somewhere else also, right? So every time you want to use this table somewhere inside your paragraph or somewhere in your report, you just have to give the table number so that you can use it for referencing and also for the identification of the table, right? So this is the first component of a table. The second would be the title of a table. You should give a suitable title for the content of your table. This is very important. Every table should have a title, appropriate title that should be precise and to the point. The third component that every table has is a stub. Stub means the row heading, right? Row heading. You have to write some small, heading for every row that you have in your table. You have to write a small description in the row heading part, which is the left part of your table here. Suppose this is the mark sheet table. So you have to write student 1 name, and then you can present his or her marks here. Student 2, and then his or her marks here, right? So you have to write something here so that it represents the content of the rows of the table. And then you have here as the column head, which is known as the caption. Column head is known as the caption, and the row head is known as the stub. So in column head, you will write the name of the column head that you mentioned here, and also the units of measurement. If you want to enter some numeric values in it, you have to write the numeric measurement scale here, like the units of measurement here. Also you can write the number of columns that you are mentioning here. So these are certain information that is been written here in this top part of the table. So this is the fourth component. Now the fifth component is the most important one, which is the body of the table. This entire portion where you enter the data, right? This is the entire portion where you enter the data, numeric data usually. This is the body of the table, which is the fifth component of your table. Now let us move to the sixth component. In the bottom part you have two things, sixth and seventh component. Source note. Source note means the origination source of the table, from where you have taken this table or from where you have taken this data from. So it is especially useful for secondary data when you collect the data from some agency or some firm or some government sites or from any other sources. You haven't collected the data on yourself, you are using some already collected data. So this secondary data source has to be mentioned here, right? Every table which uses secondary data should have a source note in the below part of the table. And the seventh and the final component would be the footnote. Suppose you have used some data here. Suppose the value of this particular cell is 10 and you are wanting to write something about this value, from where you have got this or what is the significance of this value, something, right? So what you do, you have to put a star mark here and put a star mark here also and write the significance of that value or anything. So footnote basically gives an additional explanation or additional significance of any of the value or any of the component that is used in the table that you want to explain to your reader in a more detail, a little more detail, right? So footnote is placed absolutely below the table and it is not a necessary component, but if you have something you want to elaborate to your reader, you can write it here. So these are the 7 components that every table should have. Now let us quickly see the features of table. A good table, for considering it to be a good table, you should have all these features. That it has to be well balanced in length and breadth. It's not that the length of the table is massive but the breadth is very small. So it should not be the case. It should be a well balanced table in length and breadth. Data must be arranged in systematic and logical sequence. The units of measurement, if any, has to be clearly specified in respective rows and columns in the stub part or in the caption part. Fourthly, a simple, brief, self-explanatory title is needed. A table should not have too many abbreviations, and also to facilitate comparison, the comparable figures should be placed close to each other. So if you have seen my previous videos, I have explained that one of the major tasks or functions of statistics is to compare the data, right? Compare similar data. So for that, table is a very useful tool, right? You could place the comparable figures side by side so that we can compare them. Finally, the pros and cons of table. Table is a technique that facilitates statistical analysis because you are presenting the numerical data in a systematic way, so we can directly, it is readily available data that can be used for statistical analysis, which we have seen that textual presentation is not that effective in that sense. Secondly, this method readily helps in comparison, which we have also discussed. Then it enables one to detect errors and omissions, if any, in the data. When you are writing everything systematically, your scope of finding errors and omissions will be more. And fourthly, especially helpful in presenting numerical data. In table, we usually see numerical data. And what could be the cons? This mode of presentation is not comprehended by layman. Again, you have to be educated enough, or you have to have a statistical knowledge, a prior background of the context of your study, so that you can comprehend the meaning of the table and the data presented in it. And finally, it fails to create a lasting impact. So these could be some of the pros and cons of this method. I hope you understood the textual presentation and the tabular presentation. So from the next video, we will be going into the diagrammatic representation of data, and we'll see how this is effective over the methods that we have discussed here. So stay tuned for the next lecture. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, you can let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.